Freiburg is where our first story starts. About a week ago, he played some CSGO for the first time since CS2's release, and later made fair points, in my opinion, that I also ultimately agree with. I'd say this basically kickstarted a lot of old discussions. Some other people voiced similar opinions, but before that and all of the other news, here's Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is an automated service that lets you trade skins instantly for a fee. Sign up now and get up to $5 bonus. Simply add items from your inventory, then find skins that matches your current balance. Site offers live support 24/7. You can also top up your balance if you're missing a few dollars, and there's a lot of skins to choose from. Visit my link down below to get to Skins Monkey. So after Freiburg's post and this clip, a lot of talks were going on, and this Reddit post appeared from someone saying that subtick is aggravating Peeker's advantage. I'll put all these links down below so you can read them yourself. I'm going to keep it very short, but the gist of it is that another post came out disagreeing, saying that subtick doesn't affect Peeker's advantage, and ultimately this boils down to, everyone blaming subtick for everything, but more so the community can't seem to agree on anything. Pagu, an MVP who's helped fix a lot of bugs that have haunted the game's existence and thoroughly explained how they end up happening, this is basically someone who has the receipts, is backing up Hyper's post. Basically, subtick gets very easily blamed for every networking issue, and that dying behind walls specifically is not related to subtick, but to lag compensation. It was even pointed out that the community servers can disable subtick inputs entirely if they want, but none of them do. Which, of course, is an interesting thought. But really, the whole thing to take from this is that subtick is being blamed for everything today. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert, and I'm just making educated guesses at this point, but even if the lag compensation works similarly to CSGO, it could be something about the underlying netcode implementation is different or works differently in CS2 because of Source 2, and that could explain why it feels worse. Another contributing factor, which people are so tired of hearing at this point, I know, but I'm just going to say it anyway. CSGO did allow you to run servers at 128 tick, which doubles the update rate of the server. And I believe that even with subtick, it could have a positive effect on the game's experience. Also, I kind of see subtick as a separate thing outside of the tick rate, and I don't think they should be linked up together. It's two very different things, and I think they both affect how good it feels to play the game. But even without all of these tick terms and stuff, it's clear from anyone who came from CSGO's Face It days, or any community server for that matter, outside of players being toxic and shitty, the gunplay and movement felt very responsive, so it's kind of hard to go back from that. Ultimately, CS2 feels in some ways worse, and it still needs work. Now this takes me to Don Hachi's post about how the downfall of CSGO to CS2 in terms of gameplay needs to be studied and put in history books. But then Don Hachi actually got a reply from Valve in his DMs asking if he has any reproducible examples of this so they can take a look. Essentially, if you have any issue with the game, I've noticed with Valve, this is the most effective way of getting improvements. Thing is, I wouldn't even know where to start with how to provide reproducible steps, especially if we can't run CS2 on, for example, 128 tick to confirm if that would improve the feel. And the obvious reference point here is CSGO, which is also made by Valve, but in any case, emailing them is the best approach. Now, something that came up just recently was talks about the view model affecting what you can see when you shoot through smokes. So the idea is that pros might actually use view models that are closer to the center of the screen because it helps with the holes in the smoke. Then VetB8 over on Reddit basically ran through several view model settings while shooting with the Negev, which is the optimal gun to use here because it fires like a laser beam. This basically confirmed that changing the view model does not affect the holes in the smoke. However, there's a bit of nuance here. If you change your hand to a left-sided view model, then the holes in the smoke actually flip to the other side. So left and right-handed users will actually notice a change. This was kind of interesting. I've never thought about this down to the finest details myself, so the more you know. Last story, and I'm aware I've been talking a lot about Falcons, but they and Vitality are in the finals of IEM Melbourne, and it's a pretty significant final because if Vitality wins, then they will essentially be the very first Grand Slam team for CS2, which is a pretty significant achievement. But if Falcons win, then this is a pretty significant win for them as well because they have never been this good. This could become a banger. Let me know what you guys think of the finals, who do you think will win, or share your thoughts down below. Peace.